This should be the best games.
Good morning and welcome to yet another live watch along with the Under the Sticks crew here, presented by Big Red Cloud. Visit www.bigredcloud.com for all your online accounting needs. I don't even need to read that off anymore. I know it by heart. So on this Saturday morning, I would like to welcome Mr. Sean Holley. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, beautiful day here in sunny South Wales. Biggest game so far at Super Rugby Aotearoa, and looking forward to sharing it with you boys.
Happy days. And welcome Mr. Paul Williams, who must be distraught now that Sean Holley has just stole your opening line about this being the biggest game of Super Rugby Aotearoa.
I've got bigger problems. My TV keeps turning off. So, hang on, I'm back in the game.
Stop sitting on the remote. Stop sitting on the remote.
No, I'm really good. Thank you, guys. Like Sean says, it's a beautiful day. And this should be the best game, I'm hoping.
Yeah. Just one last weather note. I believe it's going to clock up to about 20 degrees here in Dublin, so it should be similar enough in Wales. So
last week, you guys know, our listeners, a couple of people have asked when to start. We're a bit late this morning, apologies, but we're underway now. You know that I play golf on a Saturday morning in a competition after we do the End of the Sticks.
Yeah.
Last week was so dreadful. We got down there after the game, and I had all my gear on, my clubs out of the boot, and then it was abandoned without a swing.
Oh, God love you.
So today is beautiful. So
yeah, you can't get better than today.
Oh God! I think, by the way, the two of you are right. I mean, like we've seen some really good rugby so far out of the Super Rugby Aotearoa. But these two teams are the ones. The ones that the rivalry, the history, they're already having a go at each other on a billboard I see in New Zealand the other day about Dan returning as the luminary water boy. But in terms of playing contrasts and styles, what sticks out to you guys about how these guys go about their rugby? Ooh.
I think the Crusaders have become the sort of industrious, hard to beat team. They, like last week, they do enough in the end, that sort of thing, but then they show up in the big games. So I think they've got a core of real hardcore players, things like Sam Whitlock, Ryan Crotty in the past, so they're midline, Kieran Reid at 8, and then, always a good hooker. So they're sort of standard core 2, 5, 8, 9, 10, sort of 12, 15, that sort of midline has always been great without being overly flashy. What the Blues have had in the past is the gold dust, the X factor, the Zinzan Brooks, the Sean Fitzpatricks, the John Kerwins, and now, after a lean spell, I think it's since 2012, have emerged with some real X factor talent again. Signbold and Barrett, the obvious being Tuplutu, Hoskins, Sotutu at 8, Reiki Ione, the gold dust that they haven't had in recent years, and they've turned up, and last week was a classic for me. This again are the real Blues going to show up? They win today, they win it for me. Crusaders win it, they win it for me. So this early on is a big game.
Hoskins Sotutu, nice that you mentioned him. I see he's all locked up with
surprise,
the Blues.
Surprise.
I wonder if does Eddie Jones get a bit of commission on that contract for maybe just like the little fire? Was that what happened there?
I was thinking that this morning. I was thinking, as Hoskins' agent, giving Eddie do us a favour, mate. Get it out in the press that he's your English body, right?
Do you know what? I bet he did. Get that in the Sunday Times. Hoskins wants a better deal. I'd do exactly the same thing.
We got a couple of regulars on that. James Reid, morning, lads. We've got Michael Jenkins it must be lovely down in Pembrokeshire. Michael, this is you. Kyle Reese, morning. Happy birthday for yesterday, Kyle Reese.
Oh, happy birthday, Kyle.
Yeah. So, and we've got a couple of, my goodness, we've got some names that I think I'll leave to you and Paul to say. New viewers.
Yeah, I think I drew the short straw last weekend. So Paul, you're up there. So anyone asking if we've got links to a free stream or if we can put the match up on the watch along? Afraid that's That's not up to us. It's not something we'd encourage anyway. Get your rugby fix through official channels if you so can. Paul, I see you're wearing your Crusaders red.
Exactly. Well, Sean plays golf immediately after, and I normally play tennis, which is why I've always got Wilson t-shirts on when I play. So I've got a match at 10:30. Yeah, but
Very
so
good.
yeah, it's which bit are you? We haven't done our normal video check. Which bit are you on?
I'm on
6 minutes 33.
Yeah,
All right.
There we are. Perfect.
Fantastic. So what we've got now, we've got Crusaders now on their own line with the scrum, because this has come back. They tried to take a quick line out and throw it to the back, but it didn't go to plan, and they've just given the Blues a really good attacking field position here. Sean, we always think of scrum 5 meters out to the attacking team under the posts is the dream situation, but being right over by the touchline is pretty helpful too, because you've got so much space that you could exploit if you get the ball out of that one channel.
Well, the key is you're the scrum half. Like, he has to defend that side. Now Moanga goes across because they've obviously put somebody over this side, probably Rika Ioane. But now this opens it up. Now they have to fold. Rick, how do you think he's over? I think he's over.
He is over. I don't think he's grounded it though.
They're going to check.
You think that boy?
Ooh.
You think Sototo's only 21, 22? And he's just made that look so easy, isn't he? That pickup.
Yeah.
Mason Green was only 18, mate. Sorry, it's Man United. Did I mention United won the title 20 times? Sorry.
But number 8s don't tend to mature until a little bit later, do they? They're like locks. It's sort of 24, 25 when they really get to their maturity.
He's in a ball carrying position, mate. He's a little bit of an unknown at the moment, so he's got a little bit of grace. He's got a season or two of
free season.
Or one season, that first season syndrome, where people are going, hang on, before they get a chance to adjust and do some work on him, he's going to make hay. Next season they clamp down on him a bit, but he's that good. We'll see the TMO. I thought he got over.
I think he did, but I don't think he put it down. He definitely got over, and I think
they got their hands under it, but
the ball's down.
It looked like a fumble. Oh, it is down there. I think that's your try, boys.
I think that is a try.
There's a lot of red hands around the ball, though, isn't there? Now this is the one that'll tell us.
I think it's a try.
Do you know what else as well? He's got an arm around his neck as he's going down trying to score that.
One go. Yeah, he can't give. No, that's not a try. Wow.
Who is that underneath? Is it Moanga's got under there? Or the scrum half?
Oh, Moanga's stretching out his right arm there.
Yeah.
Who'd be a TMO, lads? Who'd be a TMO?
Yeah.
There's good Hugh. It's not him. Oh, is it?
I love how I think I've managed to make it first through the couple of weeks of these watch-alongs without saying anything particularly silly. But of course, as soon as I start asking Sean about all the space out wide from an attacking scrum out on the left, and then let's go straight to the number 8 charge in the corner.
Number 8 pickup. Yeah, no try.
Now, under the rules they're playing in Australia, under the rules that they're playing with in Australia at the moment, that would be a dropout on the goal line to the defending team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really don't know how I feel about that.
I don't either. It's the one rule. I'm very laissez-faire with rule changes, and I normally just think do them and then we'll change them. But that rule is unusual.
Yeah, this is where you'll see it now, right? Because the Blues aren't moving from here. The clock has ticked on 2 minutes here now. We've had a long TMO, which can be exciting for the viewer, for the crowd.
Yeah.
Now we've got a reset scrum. Let's have a look what happens, and then we'll make more of a judgment. Because by now, the Crusaders will have dropped out. The Blues will have it back on around about the 10-meter line, and play be going on, right?
True enough.
So this new Aussie rule test is to eradicate all of this now. Dead space.
Yeah.
2.5 minutes gone.
True enough.
Another scrum. All of a sudden, the Crusaders got a nudge on. Referee's blown up. It's gone up. Guess what? He's going to reset because they don't want this. Referees here, they want pretty pictures. So the clock's ticking again. The viewers now having another bite of the hot dog, thinking, what about we'll have a rubbish replay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The game we would have been
Yeah.
watching another 2 minutes of Aussie rugby here.
You are right.
That's the reason for it.
Yeah. Do you know the other thing that dawned on me yesterday is those restarts in Super Rugby AU, it could herald the dawn of the giant drop goal kicker. Because you basically get a free shot. Because it happened a couple of times yesterday.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, you get a free shot at the 40-meter yard line, basically, with no defense anywhere near you.
So let's see what happens here now. See it, scrum half.
He's shaping for the carry.
Fair play to the 7. He's right.
See,
off.
the thing is there with Satutu, I mean, he could easily just throw a skip pass.
Yeah.
He's got the talent.
He probably will next time.
Because do you know what I mean? He's already caught the attention of 3 defenders as soon as he's come around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a penalty coming from the Blues.
Loads of room.
It's about...
Oh,
Good finish.
nice.
Good finish. They look in the real deal.
I tell you what.
He did not need to do that. He could have just charged across and dived. He wanted to just be a bit flash and put that down at one hand.
If he dropped it, that would have been another thing.
Yeah.
I've been watching Super Rugby properly, I'd say, for the last decade, watching it flat out. And
I know, it's your favourite ever league, isn't it?
Favourite style of rugby, I amended that to Adam. And the Blues have never had that carry off the 8.
You haven't been watching long enough, mate. Remember Zinzambrook?
No, I know. Yeah. The last 10 years, I've been watching it sort of fervently. You know.
Yeah, don't mention it to Xavier Rush either, though.
He was up here. He was up here then. He was at Blues 10 years ago.
We had a TMO thing from, who was it? Kyle, was it?
Kyle, yeah, hang on.
Famous quote. Who said there is no reason I cannot give you that you cannot award. That was Derek Bevan and Nigel Owens. That was famous. And Nigel Owens then said, "Are you saying that there is no reason that I can give it a try?" It was a confusing bit of comedy.
Very good. We've got lots of comments coming in here. So we've got Jamesy Cowans in here watching us.
Morning.
We've got Chiefs Girl.
Morning, Chiefs Girl.
Blues.
Oh, that's good.
We've got a bit of a demographic going on. Thomas Oakley, morning from Cardiff.
Is that you with hair and a mask, Ad?
Oh, God, I hope not.
Jesus Christ,
James
that's
Reed.
really weird.
Flashbacks to Stockdale against Leinster, just talking about that finish, probably the one hand. And Chiefs Girl, good Hugh needs a haircut. Mullets are horrible, even in the 80s. I don't know if that's a real Chiefs fan, is it? Mullets are absolutely de rigueur in New Zealand these days, aren't they?
Oh, Kiwi rugby, they're par for the course.
That was a nice little collision by Barrett on Sevu Reese there, wasn't it? Sevu Reese, by the way, could be and most likely should be wearing a Connacht jersey these days.
Yeah,
but, that's some turnaround. I mean, he was due to sign for Connacht a couple of seasons ago, and then there was so he got in trouble with the law at home, and I'll spare everybody the details of that. But it means he stays in New Zealand, ends up playing Super Rugby, ends up going to the World Cup, and is a serious force. And I presume if he was to make another effort of coming back up to Europe, I'm sure his wage demands would be a lot higher than what they were when he was previously setting off for Galway.
It'd be a third higher.
I see Kyle Godwin was involved yesterday for the Rebels, was it?
Oh, Talia's outside!
Oh.
Who did he burn then? Who did Talia burn on the outside then? Is that Will? No, Will.
I don't know, but it's third degree burns by the look of it.
Oof.
Now, see, this is good. This is good from Crusaders, right? Now they've been absolutely pierced, and I'm always amazed by the best teams just how quickly they can recover defensively from something like that. Because usually a guy bursts free, and if you've even got like a handful of guys on the team just not paying attention, just thinking he's not getting through there, happy days, whatever. Like that's immediately how you lose your cohesiveness because 2/3 of your team will scramble, and the other guys are caught napping, that type of thing. But you just don't see it with the best teams.
They were in line immediately, then, weren't they?
Yeah. By the way, must do a shout out to our crocked comrade, Mr. Andy McGeady. Bit of a bad back and sounds not too pleasant at the moment. So I think he is resting up. So Andy, if you're watching, hope you're on the mend, mate. So
yeah, I hope you feel better, Andy.
Now,
I bet he's pulled his back carrying all that meat to his barbecue. All those tomahawk steaks he's always showing pictures of.
all the stuff. Well, I was actually hoping to be on because we had a patio completed out the back of the house, which now means we've got space for a barbecue. And
Nice.
would like to get some tips on that. I'm being told that if you go for a gas barbecue, that's not real barbecue.
Yeah, it doesn't taste the barbecue.
And they're pricey. But then the other ones, the charcoal ones, they do take a bit of time. Anyway, this is not the barbecue watch along. This is the Super Rugby watch along.
Sponsored by Weber.
Yeah. So
I can see a slow burner here, you know. Yeah, like they're kicking, they box kicking. Yeah,
Was that a barbecue gag?
They box
That's
kicking
a
from the
great
halfway line. They kick crossfield kick in from the first real bit of possession. It's a typical Crusaders sort of.
hang on a second.
burner.
Did he call a mark and then just pass it straight away?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
So if he's called a mark, he's got to at least tap it with his foot and then he can pass it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I don't like sometimes about Southern Hemisphere refs. They're a little bit lax on things like that. I'm a bit of a stickler like that. Pull your socks up, do your mark properly. Tap the ball properly.
Do your mark properly.
The ball has to leave your hands.
Yeah. Tell you what, Talia's getting a lot of possession in this open 15.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, but they've clearly wised up to that though. They're pressing so hard on him now.
Yeah. Because in the first few games, Talia didn't touch the ball that much until the second half.
Now here we go. That's a good example now. I think of these new interpretations of the breakdown.
Yeah.
I think previously we'd have seen that contest go on a little longer, and the Blues would have probably got a chance to shift the open side off the ball there. But the referee's given it less than a 3 count there, and ping.
I really like these new breakdown. Well, not new. Well, they are new. Let's call them new interpretations.
The breakdown as it was meant to be.
Yeah. It's so fast. I love it.
I just wrote an article for the world's biggest selling rugby magazine. I don't know if we're allowed to mention it, but they asked
absolutely.
me. Rugby World. So I write a column every month called The Analyst for Rugby World, and I wrote one on the new law interpretation of the breakdown. So the ones I was concentrating on were obviously there was a big attack coming in here. Let's see how this develops.
Yeah. Got you right down the middle.
Strange to see him get that much space, though, wasn't it? They did a good job tying in the inside defence. Now, see, this breakdown's a bit of a mess, but... Oh!
Moody's nearly there.
This is where the Crusaders are normally pretty clinical, aren't they?
Well, this is why everybody kind of wants to see that, like, Leinster, Crusaders, Saris, all these types. Do you know what I mean? Because these guys rarely miss an opportunity from this close in, but...
Yeah, that was a bad pass from Mwanga.
Yeah. We are full of the commentators' curse this morning, boys.
So so go back to the law chat. There's a classic. Whereas we thought the interpretations were going to be, heavy on the defensive side, although week 2 we did see a lot of penalties against defensive sides. In general, they've actually given the jackler opportunity and less time, if you like, on the ball. So I did some analysis. The referees are calling some vernacular like clear lift. So as soon as he's lifted the ball, if there's nobody coming to clear out the jackler, they're saying things like clear lift. In other words, he was there in time. He was there first. So they're actually penalising the attacking team quite a lot. And another couple of examples of that, and we've seen the Highlanders and Chiefs be guilty of it, is that you're not allowed, you have to, like the hooker there, you have to place the ball straight away or move straight away when you're the ball carrier. Any double movements, any get up on one knee, any roll, they're into you straight away. And they're using terms like 2 goes. You had 2 goes.
Right.
You know?
Because I think for me that was my concern about as much as I like the idea of all these, and the very simple one was, go north to south and roll west to east, and just clear that space. But I was slightly concerned that the jackler could be refereed out of the game potentially, and I know there's like the conversation around this is being around the physical toll it takes on some of the players, and Sam Warburton obviously being the big example that people like to point to. I think for me, the jackler, that is an art, and it combines a couple of things. It's all out bravery, but it's really, really sharp game intelligence to know when to be somewhere and when to go in and when not to go in. And I just think that's something that's unique to rugby. And again, like if we're going to start getting rid of certain aspects of rugby, we might as well play with 13 men.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that the opportunity still exists there for the jackler.
It was interesting reading in prep for the article, some of the New Zealand press and that, they were pretty scared. I think the first 2 rounds, there was something like 30 and 28 penalties in the game or something.
Yeah.
But Ian Foster got involved, Fozzie got involved, and had a few chats with the officials, the All Black head coach, and it sort of calmed down a little bit. But I quite like them. I think the referees are being allowed to be far more decisive, far quickly. And whereas we might get a few more blows, we are seeing. There's Boise. There's Mark Jones.
That is so weird.
So for our viewers, Paul, who don't know Mark Jones.
So Mark Jones is the former Welsh second row, I'm joking, Welsh winger, coach at the Scarlets, and with Sean at the Scarlets. Weren't you there at the same time, coaching?
Now then. Come on, Williams, get your facts right. The reason I went to the Scarlets for 3 or 4 months, because Mark went to coach Wales for a bit, for the Six Nations.
There we go.
So I went down to the Scarlets after the Ospreys to help them start winning again, basically.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to laugh.
Mark, love that.
We need a few wins. Call Holley.
All I was thinking then was the Twitter fallout of thinking, oh my God, that's it. We're
There's
finished.
no Twitter fallout. They're facts, They probably won 7 out of 8 the time I was there. But
they did, actually.
I guess we lost to Leinster. But anyway, Mark, great bloke. Because I coached him when I coached for Wales. Quick story if we get any break and play. He's a bit of a joker, Boise. He's called Boise, right? As a nickname.
Right.
Great, lovely offloading play here, popping up, Tupalutu.
He's so underrated, isn't he?
Oh, nice skip pass. Now, will Barra turn up today? No, he's dropped it.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's a bit of a joker, right? So already played a joke on Alan Phillips, the team manager, that lost his passport on the plane, going to Canada. And Alan Phillips is going nuts, blah, blah, blah. But then I had a bit of a growth, bit of a beard going on. And he had this thing that I was a lookalike to, I forget that guy's name, Ray Donovan, what's his name? Liebschreiber, is it?
Oh, yeah, Lee Shriver.
So I come down to the team room now, and there's about a dozen laptops, big screens where the boys are there. Well, I didn't know at the time. He was in this Wolverine film or something, I don't know. So I come down to the team room one morning after breakfast, and all the big screens and the laptops have all got a picture of me and a picture of Lee Shriver. Have you seen Ray Donovan? That sort of thing, like, on every screen. He's just that sort of nutter. And so I changed them all to Max Boyce. Said, is this the real Mark Jones?
Oh man! Well, I tell you what, he's living the dream down there now. What a coaching gig that is.
He's a great boy. He's a lovely boy.
We just had a slice kick there from Crusaders, so we've got the Blues attacking into the 22 off of that short line out. And
it's interesting from the side there.
And off his feet. What do you think about those clean outs, Sean?
Where again, that's doing my research for that article, mate. There we are. He's just picked it up now. in from the side. So I reckon he saw the first one, right? This is how I reckon he saw the in from the side and thought, oh, I am blown up for that one. He's waiting for another one. I'm blown. So it's good refereeing, really, but that's in from the side. And you've lost the race, mate. That's the reason players do that. You'll see it because they've lost the race over the ball. The Jackal's over the ball and thinking, oh, shavings, I've got to get there. So they cut the cheat line. And you see
And
it now.
But it's also that first one. He was off his feet cleaning out, wasn't he?
Yeah, and they're dangerous, man.
That torpedo clean out is insane. I think
there was a few of those in the World Cup that I can't believe didn't. Have we looked?
I don't understand why they're allowed to do that. That is the same level of danger, I think, as a tip tackle. Cleaning out someone's head and shoulders off your feet. It's ridiculous. Imagine having Alan Williams-Jones diving at your neck.
I don't care how big my neck is. I don't want that. We've had a lot of comments come through, and I'm going to read a few of them out now in a minute, but a couple of them were related to our chat on the breakdown. And just one thing I wanted to pick up there, Sean, what you were saying in terms of Ian Foster, the All Blacks coach, getting involved with the officials to talk about this. Because, look, a cleaner breakdown and a faster game, and if they can show that works in Super Rugby Aotearoa, then that's going to be a compelling case for the rest of the world, right? And if I'm the All Blacks coach, what do I want? I want a game that's as fast as possible, and I want a breakdown that's as clean as possible, and then I'm going to crucify team. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, like, I can see this maybe was probably a little bit of a local issue with some of the coaches who are only thinking about their own ends and winning games for their teams. Fozzie's getting involved because he sees, hey lads, there's a much bigger picture here that you're all plugging into. So cut the back chat. I'll go talk to the referees and we'll get a nice happy picture here.
Spot on, mate. Spot on. Because the coaches would have been rumbling behind the scenes about, look, there's a load of penalties, there's this, that, and the other. And he's going, well, probably let's see how it pans out. I'll have a chat with them. But it's their competition, isn't it? So if they're in their own little New Zealand bubble at the moment, you're absolutely right. All Fozzie wants is to get his players used to whichever way the directions go in, so that his All Black team can be the best, can have a head start on whatever the law interpretations are going to be. So, I mean, look, going back to this Blues team, the Crusaders know what they're about, and they look. All this is very organised. They know their plans. It was a little peel or pop up from the 7, a thrust in, then a pick and go strategy. Mwanga now will flash the other way. There you go, inside ball. So they know that's a very set pattern there. It's very close to working. For me, the Blues look like a little bit more
spontaneous.
Ospreys-esque, Hurricanes-esque, you know what I mean, Leinster-esque as opposed to Munster-esque, which is Crusaders for me. So, and they've got those players now, those punchy players who are coming in and they look really dangerous. So it's the execution is going to be the difference between the two. Great, I love it.
Yeah, Paul, I've got a question in here from Julien Funes. I hope I haven't made too much damage of that pronunciation. But thoughts on Talia Clark and Barrett as a back three? Don't know if we're talking Blues or if we're talking All Blacks, but Paul, tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, but do you know, the thing is, in the opening week, that looked like the dream back three, didn't it, in Kiwi rugby? And I couldn't look past it, and I was mesmerised by it. And then, of course, as soon as we started seeing the Crusaders then coming through with Sevi Reese and Will Jordan, and then the Crusaders back three. I mean, they've got so many back three players. And now we've got David Havili back for the Crusaders, who's, he's weirdly in the opening couple of weeks been the forgotten man at Kiwi rugby, whereas he is the starting fullback and starting wing for the Crusaders. And Will Jordan's come out of nowhere. I mean, that if I was picking the best out of those, I would actually pick the Crusaders back three. Because I think, would I? I don't know. There's nothing to pick between them, let's be honest. They're both... It's sexual rugby, whichever way you look.
Steady on. Look, let me give you a tip. Let me give you a tip, Paul.
Yes.
You pick the guys in form. Caleb Clark would go in for me now.
Yeah, I think so.
And then they retro clip of Big Jonah.
Yeah.
This is great. From 1996.
Oh, wow. Look at him
Those are some
go.
great jerseys, aren't they?
That's Eric Rush, isn't it?
Yeah.
No. That's
No. Do you know, I don't know
I
who
can't.
that is.
I've got the sound off. That was that was Blowers, was it? I can't. I got my sound off, see, because there's feedback. Can we just go to John Williams, mate? He's obviously listening to us, and he's gone.
Yeah.
Is Hall or Drummond starting at 9? It's Bryn Hall, John. All right.
Yeah.
Barrett is still at 15, with Aotearoa Black at 10. So we've still got that situation. And we heard a rumor last week, didn't we, that Beauden Barrett could be off to Japan. Was that a vicious rumor that?
No, I think
No,
that's confirmed.
he's a lot of the All Blacks now have a 1 year out deal, and
Basically
he's
a jackpot.
yeah. So they get to have a nice, I don't say an easy season in Japan, an easier season in Japan on a lot of cash. Thing
Easier
is,
on the wallet.
yeah, he's in the wallet. The thing is, it's a great move by Kiwi Rugby because it means you haven't got to pay for them, so you still keep them within your system, and you know they're going to come back for the World Cup. They get to have a reasonably injury-free season up in Japan, pile into the pension, and it comes off your bottom line. So I think that's another example of how Kiwi Rugby's just ahead. You know, I think in Wales sometimes there's too much focus on keeping everyone in Wales all of the time, whereas you can take some players off the bottom line if they're really expensive.
Well, but see, I think the thing that makes it easier in Japan, for them, there's a geographic bit, but then nothing can be closer to Wales than Bristol and Bath, obviously. But I think it's the length of the season that they play in Japan, and also I believe they're only allowed to play a certain amount of minutes or start a certain amount of games if you're not a Japanese player and all this sort of stuff. So, look, I mean, if you're the All Blacks, you've got the luxury of being able to afford this, and also the other side of it is, if anything happens to one of these guys while they're in Japan, it's not like you haven't got 10 guys in a queue in every single position waiting to come in. And I know there's not any other Beauden Barretts, but
I
think it's good for Kiwi boys to get out of New Zealand for a little bit as well. I think my experience of Kiwi lads who do make the decision is they improve themselves as individuals. They do some professional development. They learn a new skill. They're really good like that. So take Marty Holler. Marty Holler and his brother had a small business at home called Holler Homes, just, odd jobs around the house. While he was in Wales with the Ospreys, he did a complete plumbing course.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Right, wow.
Things like that, Philo Tietia became a rugby coach, did all his coaching qualifications, things like that. But then they pick up new skills and do some extra education. And I think going to Japan, they'll have opportunities there, business opportunities, whether it be around banks, finance, hospitality, whatever. They'll have an opportunity to become better people as well.
Yeah, and Shane Williams loved his stint in Japan, didn't he, Sean?
3 years.
He speaks very favourably about his time out there, doesn't he?
I'm not surprised. He played about 6 games a year and
$500,000.
Yeah. He actually enjoyed. He's big in Japan,
and he was probably one of the he was probably one of the taller people amongst.
Yeah, he's big in Japan. Yeah, he enjoyed a couple of seasons in the second row out there.
I remember Brad thought, I think the standard of rugby has improved since he made this comment, but he said when he played a season in Japan, he was able to clear out rucks. Yeah, clear out rucks with his hands. So if he'd gone from New Zealand, where it was all shoulders and full body weight, and he was just going like that.
Chief Skirl is contributing a lot. I don't know if you've got your commentary turned down, but she's mentioned about they've talked about a new stadium roof for Crusaders, and she also mentions there that she hopes the Blues win this year because the Crusaders play far too defensive and win by grinding down other teams. This is an example. This is the second penalty now in 10 minutes. So, it's surprising. Yeah, I was surprised they took the first one, but their mindset is chip away. It's going to be a close hour. We'll pull away. We'll back our fitness and home advantage in the last 20 minutes. So.
Well, let's face it. That's how that's how the All Blacks win games. Everyone thinks the All Blacks spin the ball from everywhere all the time. They don't. often the first 40, they're very cagey, aren't they, Sean? They kick a lot of possession.
I think what they always do is they try and get into a position where they're 9-0 up. And then that's where they're able to start being a bit more aggressive, and the other team has to come at them. And that's usually when it all goes to
exactly that. And Wales, talking from a Welsh perspective, have been in that position so many times against New Zealand. At half time, it's reasonably close, or they're 3 points up, 6 points up. Then once they get to 9 to 12, you're desperate. You've got to sling a few passes. They score 2 counter-attack tries, and then before you know it, you've shipped 40.
Here's a good question. Yeah, if you're talking All Blacks, who's your ideal 10-15? Would you go for who's in form? Would you go for flash, as in Damien McKenzie at 15, who is so dangerous coming in? Do you know what? I think you have to find a place for Barrett.
Yeah.
I think
they'll pick him at 15.
You don't become World Player of the Year for nothing. Right? There's a lot of good players out there, and I just don't think he's like, we haven't seen him enough in this game. Again, we haven't seen him enough in this return to rugby. You have to get your best players on the ball more. His goal kicking is the issue, so you find the goal kicking 15. McKenzie, as for them at the moment, is fitting that bill. Plus, he's an exciting counter attacker. Yes, that leaves Monga out on the bench, but sorry and all that. If all my boxes are ticked. That's tough, isn't it? But then come off the bench.
But if you add to that equation, then you've got Jordie Barrett, who was fantastic last weekend, and was viewed initially, I think, as going to be like the next. They looked at him as being a centre, but he seems to have settled at 15. You've then got Will Jordan, who everyone is talking about. They've got fullbacks everywhere. I wonder whether Gatland is using Damien McKenzie right now, and he isn't getting to show his talent, because defensively and size-wise, is he good enough to play 15 at test level? That's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you could be protected in an All Blacks team the way you probably can't be protected. Like, for example, Cheslin Colby is absolutely incredible, but it's only the likes of the All Blacks and the box where you could put him in a test team and not worry about him getting exposed defensively. And by the way, he's a good defender. It's just
he is a good defender. I was going to say,
we're going to go on prototype by size and stuff. Yeah. And actually, he's not the only undersized guy in that box team. No. You've got a lot of oversized fellas as well. So yeah, I do wonder, because I think that's, if you look at Peter Stringer's international career ended, but his club career went on for another 8 years, and that's not just because of how good Conor Murray was. People obviously, in those selection meetings or whatever, decided, look, we can't accommodate a scrum half of that size in a test team based on the other components we've got going. And I just wonder, Sean, like, from your point of view, I mean, club rugby obviously is down. It's it's not quite. You're going to have those roaming beasts that you could have against the Springboks and stuff. But where did actual physical size come into it? And obviously Shane, who you coached a lot, was the antithesis to this kind of argument. But where did you assess guys in terms of where they actually physically big enough to play positions?
It's a good question, mate. I wasn't, when I was an academy coach, it became a factor because you wanted to out-muscle teams. But when you've got guys who are that good, it's not necessarily about size. You mentioned Shane then, but then, somebody like a Nicky Walker came along, who we signed from the Border Reivers, a try-scoring machine. The guy was 6'5" and about 17 stone, run like the wind. So you could use him differently. But again, you look at size, you think, well, there was a period where when sides started coming down the 10 channel, you were worried about smaller 10s, and coaches started moving them to the wing or in the 5-meter channel. And I'd never liked that sort of stuff. When the scrum was very dependent on the hit, you can think of the front fives that I coached and helped, recruit and select. You would go for the advantage on the big hit. If you had a Paul James, Richard Hibbard, Adam Jones, Ian Evans, Alan Wynne-Jones front five, boom, you could win the advantage on the hit. You think back to John Hayes, Marcus Horan, Jerry Flannery, Donica, Paulie, bang, you got some issues there, haven't you? You know, you've got a lot of weight coming through.
Yeah.
So, you know, size would have been an important there. But, you know, again, you go back to Marty Holler, Justin Tiprick has been question marks asked over their size. If you're good enough, you know, you'll show up. And I think that's what Ches and Colby shows up. Even somebody, you know, like go back to Shane, and you look in here at Damien McKenzie in this tournament that we're looking at. He's got real good moments. They're brave guys. They're physically strong, durable. So, yeah. But if you've got
Damien
a specimen,
McKenzie's a very
first world problems and all
Damien McKenzie's a very good defender. He doesn't miss many tackles. He's just at test level. It's a step up, isn't it? You know, and everyone's a bit bigger and everyone's a bit quicker.
It can work the other way, mate. So you take Mike Phillips, right? Mike's about 6'3". We talked Johnny Sexton on Wednesday night. The guy's a big guy. It works the other way. Now, you may not think that Mike Phillips was your best ever scrum half, but my God, what a rugby player.
Yeah.
What an animal. What a competitor, you know? So get him in the team.
Massive. He's bigger than me. I'm 6'3". And I look up eye line to Mike Phillips. And he's broad as well.
Player who you haven't eyeballed at close contact, Paul? I mean, without their permission.
I mean, through binoculars at long distance is a few, but up close, I am the original fanboy.
Just what sparked our conversation here, and is John Williams, and he's saying, would you rather stability and more control at 10 of the likes of Mwanga? With Barrett, the freedom to come in and out of the line and decide when he wants to come into effect. Do you know what? I like that, because that's always been what I've liked more about Barrett. And when you've got somebody of that ability, is to say, I'm not giving you sole responsibility to steer the ship here and get bogged down sometimes if the game isn't going our way. I want you to be able to pick your lines and pull a defense apart when you can see the moment is right. And I think you've got to have such peripheral vision at 10. You've got to see how the pace of the game is going. You've got to see what your pack is doing. You've got to see how you're manipulating the outside defense. Whereas from full back, and when you've got the pace of Barrett to come into the line, it's...
Yeah, I think for the All Blacks, I think they're going to be dominant in most games in terms of possession and territory. They're going to be able to bring Barrett in, even to 10 on short sides. I think when you're talking here now, club and provincial rugby, he's not in the game enough for me
at all.
And don't tell me that the Blues 10 is running the show here to a point where. So I mean, I don't know. I just be thinking he's a little bit wasted here, and he's having to make last man tackles on big men, and I'm thinking, well, I don't want him there, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one.
He's had a really quiet. He's had a very quiet month in this competition, hasn't he? He wouldn't be in the
he's
top.
Saving himself for Japan, Paul.
Yeah. But what I mean, you wouldn't mention him in the top 10 names so far in Super Rugby Aotearoa, would you?
No.
He wouldn't be in the top 15 names.
Akira Ioane has just made 2 absolute monster hits.
He spotted out the line really well.
Oh, and he's just killed any momentum in this attack for the Crusaders. And I think, let me see. I see John Williams back in again, just asking about Rieko Ioane. Let's see what happens to the Crusaders, and we'll get onto the 13 channel for the All Blacks. I mean, geez, like we have enough issues with our own national teams. Like we're talking about the All Blacks, guys. Just we're like, do you like this diamond, or do you like this piece of gold, or do you like this?
That's the thing, they're blessed. Yeah. They're blessed, aren't they? But it's good conversation from John Williams, because let's face it, Rieko Ioane in any one of the Northern Hemisphere teams would walk in the team. Let's face it. And then they're trying him at 13 because they're blessed with guys. Caleb Clark has arrived now. I'd like to see him play 13 for the All Blacks for the same reasons we just said that Barrett could play 15, because they're going to dominate possession. They're going to dominate territory. They're going to have forwards who are going to put them in positions. Imagine having all of your guns in the team. So
that's
Well,
is
well, that's
amazing.
it. Sometimes it's about just put the best players on the pitch and see what happens as well. You know, our chat about.
But then you look at the wider debate there now. So you've got, you've got Leonard Brown there. There are lots of centres coming through as well. We've got the Crusaders 13 now. He's only 22. They're stacked up, and Leonard Brown. I don't think he's having the best season. I think there are other 13s who are playing better than him currently. But it seems in New Zealand in particular, Leonard Brown's thought of very highly. And he is obviously a really good player, but there just seem to be other players, I think, that have got more potential. I think, Lamarpe's never mentioned at all in these conversations, which I find unusual. He seems very unfashionable in New Zealand. And I don't really understand why. So it's they could put out two teams. Let's face it.
So it's halftime, 7-6 to the Blues. They're up. But you're right, Sean. It's been a cagey one, but halftime means we get to chat about all sorts. And just going back to our I talk about size. We've got Sir Duffy says, "Sure, look at Faf de Klerk. He's a pit bull." One thing about Faf de Klerk, you watch that World Cup final and the tackles that he put in. And again, we're talking about a guy who's probably going to be the shortest man on any international rugby pitch. And he was making his tackles count. And I mean, there's a way to get blown off the ball at that size, and there's a way to slow a guy down. And he was definitely making sure he could slow guys down. And then just back again, guys, just talking about the centres and things like that. I do wonder that balance that they've got to strike in New Zealand about keeping guys interested. Because as we say, look, they've got a plan for your Bowden Barretts and the bigger guys. They can go to Japan for a little while to make money that they couldn't earn in New Zealand but stay in the system. But likewise, they want to try and keep that younger talent within their pool so they don't stray away. So it's almost like you've got to get a lot of these guys into your system. You've got to maybe cap them all and then figure out where you're going after that, rather than just saying, hey, pal, you've got to wait your time. And I think there's another knock-on effect to that is you get these guys, you get a handful of caps, very young on, and then they go to Europe and their agent can sell them as, well, he's an All Black, bona fide All Black, he's got a couple of caps, and then they play in Europe for 6, 7, 8 years and make their money. So it's a really, like, there's a rugby economy you're managing there, not just a player pool as well.
And the important thing there that you mentioned, Adam, is that these fringe or young All Blacks don't hang around anymore. So if you look at like Malachi Fekitoa, so it used to be that they went after they had a few caps but Fekitoa realised he was on the fringe, didn't want to stick around for another 4 caps, just went. Same with Piatow. Who doesn't think that Charles Piatow is the best fullback in the Northern Hemisphere? Not many people. And, once they get stuck behind a Ben Smith and Mills Muliaina and whoever it is, they're going. And it's the same with David Havili now. I imagine if he doesn't make a big charge on the All Blacks this year, same as Ben Lamb at the Hurricanes, these guys aren't that young. Ben Lamb's 29. They'll just leave.
I got to be honest, man. I think it hasn't helped them that they haven't had a combination in the midfield for a while. Like they've accommodated Sonny Bill Williams, haven't they? I'm going to go now and play rugby league. I'm going to go and do some boxing or whatever. Great player and all that. But you think back to all the great centre partnerships, they were together. Oh, they are together. So you go back to Carling and Guscott. You think back to Walter Little, Smoking Joe Stanley, and then Frank Bunce. Okay, make the odd change now and again, but keep one. You think of Little and Horan, for Australia. More recently, you look at Ma Nonu with Sonny Bill, or Conrad Smith and Ma Nonu. Long runs, they've tossed and turned and ifed and but, I think what the All Blacks need to find is a centre partnership, no matter how much talent they've got, and stick with them for a bit. And I'm hoping that's what Fozzie does when he finally gets the reins, because I think the best sides are a little bit more settled. You have a go-to partnership, same as a second row, same as a front row, same as a back, all those areas. Yes, on tour, yes, in World Cups, you can make the odd change for other games, but by and large, my first choice partnership are these two. You know,
Right.
so I
That
think
makes so
that
much sense.
they've suffered a little bit.
Yeah, because a lot can go wrong in midfield, can't it? If they don't know what, especially defensively now, you look how important John Davis is for Wales. Because Wales have had those combinations, haven't they? You know, Jamie Roberts and John Davis, I'd
Yes.
say, had that sort of longevity. The same with Darcy and Brian O'Driscoll.
Yeah, Scott
And
gives Mark Taylor.
it shows, doesn't it? Like you say, once you've got 4 or 5 seasons, you know, how many tackles did John Roberts and John Davis miss over 5 seasons? Jesus, you could probably count that on 2 hands, probably, couldn't you, over like a 5-season period? And you're right, the All Blacks haven't had that. They've been bringing people in. The other thing they've been doing is switching 12s and 13s around a lot. So, you know, what? Sometimes even if Crotty got in, he'd be at 12, then he'd be at 13.
Yeah.
So they seem to have, they're a lot more fluid with where they put their 12s and 13s, whereas in the Northern Hemisphere, you know, if you're a 13, you tend to stick there and they don't switch you around so much.
We used to play right and left, see, Paul. So
Exactly.
when I played many years ago, I played a lot in the centre, but I could pass quite tidily off my left hand. So, you know, I'd probably play left. You know,
Right.
so I could play a miss 2 of my left hand then. So I'd be
Yes.
more likely to play left centre. You know, so I played 12 going from left to right and 13 going right to left, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I
Yes.
can't remember. Or you play
Like
left and right.
The French still do
Yeah.
in some regards,
Yeah.
don't they? You know, they still. Yeah.
Very good. Let's bring an end to the arguments here. So let's go around the table for Mark Townsend. Who are we choosing at 10 for the All Blacks? I have listened to all the arguments. I am still going to say at this moment in time, I would like Mwanga, and mainly because I know he's going to kick goals. And there's out halves out there who haven't been the flashiest, but my God, they've won games and they've allowed their teams to dictate play because they know they can put points on the board. And until Bowden Barrett starts doing that time and again in big games, I'm not going to pick him at 10.
Yeah, it's a tough call, isn't it?
Holley's going for Barrett. I know that.
Yeah,
I'm going
Barrett.
I'm going for
Mackenzie, me.
Barrett.
Mackenzie do
Yeah,
the kicking.
See, I'd go Barrett at 10, and then I'd go Geordie Barrett at 15.
Oh, right.
Because then you've got, I think now with the new regs and the amount of pens that are coughing up around the halfway line, Geordie Barrett's 60-meter boot, I think in some games is invaluable. So I wouldn't mind seeing him have a little run there now, because they've got time till the next World Cup. Give him a little blast. I don't think Damien McKenzie's the long-term solution to fall back. Will Jordan's too young, obviously. I don't think they'll put David Havili there full-time. I think he'll end up going north. So I think they should give Geordie Barrett a little run at 15.
Here's a left field. Sorry, Ed. What's the odds on Geordie Barrett coming through as the 10?
That might be amazing. The crash ball. Now, you talk about Nicky Walker, Geordie Barrett.
Imagine him flat to the line, right? Boom.
He's 6'5" and the best part of 16'10". You know, he's I wrote about him last week in my column, and he was the second biggest player on the field for the Hurricanes. He was bigger than all the front row, all the back row.
Jasmine Smith does not agree. Jasmine Smith also, she hopes New Zealand stick with this competition. She only wants to see the Kiwis play each other. Let Australia have their competition. The South Africans, the Argentinians can have their competition, and then we all meet in a Heineken type style tournament at the end. There might be a germ of an idea in there, but I don't think we need to get quite so insular. I know.
And I tell you what, Jasmine, do that at your peril. As much as I'd love to watch New Zealand rugby like this, every week condensed into this little beautiful jus is what it is, really. But you know, if you don't play the South Africans every month, you can get into a little rut where you don't think forwards matter, and then all of a sudden, right, you turn up against the box, and they've got 8 boys over.
Right? I love this, right? We got Kiwis, no disrespect, but they say, no, we shouldn't even play each other. You all come knocking on the door when you want to come up north in the autumn and earn money playing us slot, right? So spread the love in the club game as well. You know, we'll just play each other, and then when we need money, we'll go up north and play Wales, Ireland, England, Scotland on tour.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But Sean, don't you also agree that it's a bit insular? If you don't play the box and that style of rugby, you can get caught out fast, like they have done on numerous occasions, haven't they?
Yeah. We'll see, mate. We'll see. But I just think there's so many strides being made in Super Rugby and developing it as a brand. The Jaguares have really developed. The Sunwolves had a little bit of moment in the sun. The Argentinian national team, the Japan national team have developed because of it. The New Zealand team hasn't deteriorated because of it. There are other factors for Australian rugby, financial. We up north, we know we're growing the Guinness Pro 14, and it's been an absolute pleasure to see the Italians improve. It's been great having the South African teams. Who knows where that's going to go? Over in America, the Major League is developing, and they're going to be wanting to look to play and go on tour. And so, we need to spread this game, this world game,
totally agree,
far and wide.
And the interesting thing, did you see this week about the Hawaiian franchise?
So I'm glad you brought that up, Sean. Yeah, sorry, Paul. Because myself and Sean, we're going to apply for some roles there.
Oh, I can see Sean straight out there.
Mate, if I get that job, I'm buying a red Ferrari.
Can I do your PR?
I'm growing a moustache like my dad, right? And grow my hair long, and I'm buying a red Ferrari. I'm going to be like Magnum.
You could I tell you what, if you grow that out, that could go Magnum-y. You could easily.
Have you seen a photo of my dad? Have you seen a photo of my dad?
No.
Right, I'm going to work on this for a screen share for the second half. Right?
This can only go horribly wrong.
No, it'll go horribly right.
But I think that's an interesting format, the Hawaiian idea.
Well, I saw the guys.
John Afoa's behind it, isn't he?
Yeah. So they're talking about getting some of the Pacific Islands, personalities involved there, which is a great idea. Jasmine Smith, by the way, just chiming in again, just saying that's why you do a big sort of club type competition at the end, so that they do all get that experience.
Yeah, I suppose.
But I still kind of go with what you're saying, Paul, is that you need to expose yourself to different styles of rugby. And again, it's something that I think that we'd use as our badge of honor, in Guinness Pro 14 land, is that we have lots of different styles of play.
That's what,
and not just
that's
based
what I
on
love the Pro 14.
Yeah, and it's not just based on the country you're from, because
Exactly.
we have teams within countries who play very differently to other ones. But we're getting a lot, and thank you to everybody who's leaving their comments and getting involved here, because it's really driving the conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that's how I've always described the Pro 14, really, Adam, is like rugby tapas. So you get to have the best bits of everywhere. So you get the best bits of Ireland and that style of play. And then you get, there's no other comp in the world, really, where you get such different weather conditions in the same season. One day you're in a really dry, hot, not much grass on the fields in Africa. Next day you're in Connaught, and you have to play totally differently, sometimes in, 14 days.
Yeah. Dime Till Death here on YouTube is telling us Moongo will probably be the 10 as a known combination with Goodhue, etc. Geordie Barrett, Mackenzie will forever be utilities for the rest of their career.
Yeah,
and that's not a bad point around Mackenzie and Barrett. Is just Geordie Barrett we're talking about. The more you can do, the less likely you are to necessarily be the specialist in that position. And we can't get away from the fact, like 10 guys is a specialist position. And again, I'm just going to go back to it. Specialist means kicking your goals.
Yeah.
This is not France. We don't have Yashvili or a lovely little 9 who's going to kick all the goals for you. It's a 10. 10 has to kick goals. Bowden, get practicing. Use all that technology out in Japan. Put your time to good use, mate, and figure out how to kick when you need to win a test series against the Lions.
Adam's got for it
now. Here we go. This one from James Reed. I'd love a battle of Western versus Eastern hemispheres. Split it down the Greenwich Meridian. Argentina, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and USA versus SA, England, France, Japan, Russia, Australia, New Zealand. James, my head is scrambled. I cannot quite understand. Are we talking about an Eastern Lions team and a Western Lions team, or? Well, sorry, it should be Western Force, really, shouldn't it? But
That's snapped my brain. That is.
Now, okay, this is we're not going to get to the end of this as we watch Crusaders and Blues here, guys. We just kicked off. We're a minute and a half into the second half, still 6-7. Mark Townsend has to be Barrett at 10. Richie Mwanga is too inconsistent, he says.
Yeah, there you go. See,
Good question there for Sean from John Williams.
oh yeah.
Question for
What is
Sean: who in your time coaching is the one youngster who you coached and thought this guy is special and he has some talent? You're not allowed to say Daniel Bigger.
And he can't say Shane Williams either.
Well, Shane Williams wasn't young when Shane.
Yeah, he wasn't young when you got him, was he?
There's a couple. James Hook was amazing coming through. Could do lots of different things. Justin Tipperick was one that everybody sort of went, "Oh my God!" He physically wasn't great, but skill wise, fantastic. Tell you another one who I coached at Gloucester very early was James Simpson Daniel. Remember him?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Sinbad, he was magic as a youngster.
Yeah.
You think, oh my goodness me. So yeah, I mean, a couple of youngsters there. Marcel Garvey was another one. I remember, a winger. He was electric, and he thought I think he needed one cap for England, but he thought he was pretty special. But Tipperick, Hook, Bigger, those guys really stood out. Really
when were you Gloucester years, Sean? What date?
Oh God, now you're asking. Probably around 2000 to 2003, because I got the Ospreys job, didn't I? From there,
Gotcha.
So 2000.
So you were like head of academy at Gloucester with those getting the.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. I was director of rugby at Hartpury College and head coach of the Gloucester Academy. Yeah.
Nice.
So if you're watching in Hawaii, Sean can do the whole spectrum. He can look after the youth system, and he can go right up to first team.
Well, I should add, at the time I had a third job. I was head coach of Wales Sevens. So Hawaiian rugby.
There you go. And Sean can also interview himself after the game as well. He is a one-man band. Guys in Hawaii, if you're looking for a director of rugby, which way are we?
And he'd look good in a Ferrari.
Just requires a company Ferrari. That's it.
I need a good head of communications, because I could get carried away.
Yeah. Someone needs to keep you under wraps, don't they?
Yeah. We don't see Holley falling out of nightclubs first week in Hawaii. I'll come over and handle some of the advertising and PR.
There you go.
Can I do a screen share? Can I do it? Because before we go off the Magnum.
I want to get a quick one. Austin Fiji is just saying your the Crusaders are going to go more tactical in the second half, I bet.
I agree.
Do you know what I want to see? When will Barrett be moved to 10 for the Blues? This is going to be cagey. Right, Sean, you were going to do a screen share.
We talked about Magnum, me taking a Magnum persona when I get the Hawaiian rugby franchise job. Here's my dad, right? Share screen. I want to share screen. Is that working?
Not yet. Hang on.
Tell me when it works.
Oh, I see it there, yeah.
Hang on.
Is that it?
Oh, yes, there it is.
So there's my dad.
Oh, my gosh.
God, he really does look like him.
He's actually presenting me with a trophy. I think I'm about 11 there.
Is it best son?
Was it best son?
It was.
That's great.
Best stay pressed trousers.
Oh, that's fantastic. He does look like Tom Selleck, though. Fair play.
There's Magnum. There's Big Ron Magnum. Yeah. Is it gone now?
That's fantastic.
There we go. Very good. Very good.
Right, Blues have got the 4-point lead. More importantly, this is now in getting near Holley time. This game.
Oh yeah, Holley time. No tries between 40 and 60, wasn't it?
Yeah. So this is the key, as we found in the first 4 weeks of this tournament. This period between 40 and 55 or 60, Sean?
I usually say between 45 and 60, no tries.
No tries.
So
there was a little detail in the first half that I wanted to just talk about, because that's what I think the great thing about these watch-alongs are, is they just inspire all these different little chats that we can pull out some nuggets from. And the Blues open side, Dalton Palali'i,
Yeah.
Happily, yeah. Well, so in the first half, they were struggling at a ruck, and he's gone over to protect the ball. A scrum half hasn't turned up, and he's got two guys charging into the ruck at him. Realizes there's no scrum half, leaves his arm up, steps back, two hands down, and plays a lovely sweeping 10, 12-yard scrum half pass, and on they go. And it was just and that's your open side. And there was no panic, there was no messing around. Oh my gosh, talk about panic and messing around. Richie Moonga.
That was planned, I think, but
yeah, it was, but badly executed, or something went wrong there.
I think he was in front of the kicker too. That's why he's come back. Yeah. But interesting tactic.
It was. But I just think that's, again, we go back to this standard. We're watching these games from New Zealand, and it's just the core skill levels, particularly in the forwards,
front
that
row
allow
is
you
the
not.
big one.
Yeah,
the front row is where you really notice it.
And I saw something. So this week I see Jamie Heaslip got voted onto the Guinness Pro 14 Ultimate 15.
Yeah.
And Jamie Heaslip got voted onto the Dream Team something like 6 seasons, which is why there was hardly any nominees for number 8 outside of Heaslip. But Heaslip did stuff like that, and it's the same thing you can see out of Caelan Doris and some of these number 8s who are not, or back rowers who are not the most flashiest. They're not going to run 60 meters. They are not going to do side steps and Bill Mata-esque offloads. But all those little touches around the base of the ruck, the base of the scrum, all that stuff that stops your team getting in trouble, and they just get completely overlooked.
Absolutely.
And I think Heaslip was so consistent at all of that stuff. But, what we see in New Zealand is it's next level consistency in terms of handling abilities and just making, good decisions out of those 1 to 8 players, when normally you're really putting that on your half backs,
No, I agree, mate. I think back to 2003, Lynn Jones was the head coach of the Ospreys when they started. Lynn played for Wales. He was an open side, but he was a very loose player as well. He was a real skillful player. He'd find himself arriving and playing scrum half a lot. And towards the end of his career, he played scrum half. That first pre-season, he had all the players practicing scrum half passes from the base.
Really?
Want to play a quick game. So if you arrive and the ball's available to play, 9's out of the game, just play it. And I think back and I watched some of those games, people like Barry Williams, the hooker, even Scott Gibbs, the centre, coming in, just playing the ball off the ground, get it away. And it's so evident in New Zealand rugby because the ball is quick. And if these new law interpretations, then I agree, you have to have players encouraged to do the basics really, really well.
And fast,
I think as a bare minimum, like wingers should all be trained to be auxiliary scrum halves, because they're the ones who should be following play. And they're the ones who should be able to come in when your scrum half is out of the, and they should be capable of kicking. I've always strongly believed that wingers should literally just train with scrum halves.
Yeah, and especially when you think how much of like pendulum carrying you get now from side to side to side to side to side to side. The winger is often the next closest player to a lot of the rucks now, isn't he? Standing there and not saying they're not doing very much, but they're often either just kicking up on it, moving up on a kick chase or whatever.
I think you have to work out ways of getting. Your wingers are usually some of your best players, aren't they? They're usually some of your best finishers, your quickest guys. And I go back to what I said about Barrett. You want your best guys on the ball as much as possible. So you have to come up with innovative ways. And this is where Leinster are good with James Lowe. They use him off scrums directly. They'll use him inside of 9. They've, his brilliant bit of play for Jack Conan's try in the semi-final a year or two ago against Munster. Jack McGrath gives an inside pass, but it's Lowe that gets involved. He's in the backfield for counter-attack. So, you'll see Sevu Reece has been involved in the game. We haven't seen Caleb Clark, have we?
No. Not at all.
Hello, maybe he's a little bit young, a little bit naive. Doesn't quite know how to get into a game like this. Waiting for a chance. He sat back and watching it. Whereas
doesn't want to get caught out in defence. Ball over the top if he's out of position. Yeah,
exactly. So whereas the experienced guys are stepping in.
So with Caleb Clark now in this situation, because he hasn't touched the ball hardly at all, is he allowed to move in as he likes, or would he be given a row for that after
No, it depends on the coach, man. Your philosophy.
Yeah.
He may be told you've got to watch Seville Reese. You know, he's
Right, stay where
the
you
guy.
are.
Yeah, you know, and Tilley may be the one that's doing the free reign. But it comes down to the coach. And me, I'd be talking to my fullback. We're letting Caleb do a little bit of freedom here. Make sure you
Right.
cover across.
Gather in. Right, I see.
Tilley, you know, make sure you're dropping back a little bit because we're getting Clarkey involved a little bit. We're asking him to go roaming. That's what you would do with James Lowe. That's what you do with a Shane Williams. That's what you do with a Luke Fitzgerald, perhaps, you know.
Ooh, that's
And
a
then what do you do?
dreadful
Do you-
kick by Harry Plummer there.
Yeah,
That is
so then you'd
dreadful.
almost use your fullback and your wing as like two defensive players, so bring one back slightly more, so they're covering the space of three. Is
Yeah,
it?
mate, it's a big pendulum effect. So imagine they got a
Yes.
big rope, right?
Yeah,
But if you've got a winger who is loose and you want a free reign, then somebody else has to fill in some space. Could be a
Yeah.
9. If you've got a very perceptive 9 who's good at covering space, Aaron Smith, someone like that, you know, they could help in the backfield there because you're basically sacrificing a player, saying off you go. Look, he's going to be back in his position, you know, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But in broken play, you want him turning up on the ball or inside the key ball players.
Causing problems. Right, Will Jordan's
Paul,
on.
Very good. Paul, are you any relation to John Williams?
Probably, distantly.
Yeah, because he's
Paul
just
Williams
gone
is reffing again, isn't he?
Yeah, because
John
John Williams has just gone for the patented Paul Williams. Guess what rugby player I just was looking at or that I've seen?
There
Paul, do
we
you want
go.
to do the honours here?
Where is it? I can't see that.
Is it? I agree. I played against Dan Bigger myself. He was brilliant. Communication skills were excellent. And I realised I lacked that in my own game. So I
there we
agree,
go.
Sean.
Yeah, but he's from the sort of Gowerton triangle, Dan Bigger.
If
Yeah.
you played against players who have made it or become legends, have they? Then you know you tend to remember. I remember marking Scott Gibbs. I've told you this before.
No.
Youth rugby. I marked Scott Gibbs. He was the Welsh youth captain at the time. He scored 4 tries.
Oh.
I was
he
directly
powerful
involved.
then as well?
Oh yeah, he's powerful.
He was
I was directly involved in at least 2 of them, if I remember. And then I remember playing. I learned a harsh lesson. Do you remember a guy called Fran Clough played in the centre for Wasps?
Yes, I do recognise that name, Fran Clough.
I have made my first class debut for my stake against Wasps up there. Dean Ryan was playing and a load of others. But he sold me a dummy. I was the last man playing fullback, and I remember vividly the coach saying, you know, if you're the last man, you've got to take the man with the ball. You never take a dummy. And Frank Clough had a 2v1 with Chris Oatey. Remember Chris Oatey, the winger?
Yes. Yeah.
And he's just gone whoosh, and I've taken the dummy unbelievably at Sunbury. You know, and had I stuck on him and he'd gone for that dummy, I mean, I made a good tackle, but it was a harsh lesson. So you remember you remember good players who do things like.
We used to play against Will Thomas a lot at Pencloud Youth because he was at Trebanos, and you couldn't touch him. So you'd come out of the scrum, all you'd hear was ball gone, and then Will Thomas would be under the post. Before you'd even pulled your head out, you'd be like,
"What's a magic player?"
You could. I mean, we were 18 then. You couldn't do anything with him.
I couldn't.
Good Are they going back for a potential try here?
I can't see where it's coming from.
Has he got this down?
I think. No, I think they're saying did he prevent him from scoring the try?
Yes, I think it's that.
I think they're looking at it as a foul play.
Well, there's a push. There's a push on the winger.
So to me, that's gone forward off Blue anyway.
Yeah, well, off his shoulder. Yeah. I think,
but off his face doesn't count. Off his face doesn't count as forward though.
Shoulder does.
Shoulder arm afterwards.
Yeah.
Knock on.
See, that's how you get into Holly's team. You got to know the rules.
I tell you what, this last 4 weeks I've sharpened up a lot, especially after the dip block incident.
16-2, isn't it?
No, it is not. It is 16-4. 16-4. Listen here.
Oh,
James
God.
Reed, my claims to fame, grew up playing with Tommy Seymour at school in County Down same year. Think we wrote a
nice.
song together in the fourth form. Of course, Tommy Seymour went on to become a Lion, didn't he? Not a Test Lion, but he went on the tour.
Yeah.
Fine
Cracking
player.
player.
Fine
Oh.
player.
Do you know, there's a really underrated player, Tommy Seymour. Barely used to see
Finisher.
him. Never see him make a
Finisher.
mistake. Yeah. Really good defensively, too. Always in position.
An interesting background as well. I
Always a
think
mess.
he's Canadian or American. You know, he lived over there at some point. He was an Ulster.
Kieran's gone.
Oh my gosh, that's a
You
collision.
don't often see that now, do you? They're in.
They've got to be Bodie.
Oh
my gosh.
That you saw his power then, didn't you?
That is some power, isn't it? Whoa.
3 boys tried dropping him then.
If this is a warrior, can I say that it is a try in Holley time?
It is in Holley time. This is rare.
5 minutes away, but it was close. But I think there was an infringement at the scrum, but he's given the penalty and overruled it. So
that was, do you know what? That was madness of a free kick because he's just run into everybody straight from the offing.
He's just He's just done 3 defenders there. 1, 2, 3.
But have a look.
Essentially
How
4.
he quick. I don't know if they're going to show this again, but have a look how he quickly realigns himself, right? Because he's encroached forward, and then he realigns and gets back into a flat wide position. Brilliant.
But can I just say as well, like that combination of power and balance and footwork, all in one go. I mean, that is a special athlete.
Oh, charge down!
Oh my gosh!
I haven't seen that since 1982. Why was he so close to the post?
Sean, we know you're not a fan of Aotearoa Black, but yeah, I think he's definitely in the bad books after that one, isn't he?
That's going in,
because that would have taken it to 8 points.
That's going in my column.
Oh my gosh!
There you go. It would have taken it to 8 points, 2 scores. Now we're at 6, and
okay, yeah, and now Crusaders. This has just gone end to end. So we were watching the replay, and then they've cut from the replay, and Richie Mwanga is heading towards the 5-meter line, and now it's Good Q returning towards the 5-meter. This is
Good Q's just gone Hulk. Knock on. Wow. Here we go.
Oh.
That was a prop clear in the base of the ruck then, Adam.
Yeah.
This is.
I wonder if there's anything nefarious going on here.
Look at that
That is like something you do in Jonah Long with rugby.
So that's 2 things that have happened there in succession that I haven't seen for about 20 years. A charge down conversion and a quick restart from the 10 on the halfway.
That is unreal. Now, come here. Let's see the replay here for the...
Mark Jones.
That was brilliant by Mwanga.
And that is Super Rugby, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell.
Now, then, with the bookies, right? Crusaders home. I think Crusaders have lost here. We've seen the charge down again. That's a schoolboy error, pardon the pun. I don't think the Crusaders have lost here since 2016.
2016, yeah.
Right? So, and they were given an 8-point start by the bookies.
This would be huge.
We're coming out up to the end of Holley time, and there's 6 points in front. You know that. This is like I keep saying tonight. Will the real Blues show up? This could be the year, boys.
This is it.
Sean, just trying to go back into the coaching environment here. Like when somebody makes an error that basic, you know, in terms of the charge down kick, like it doesn't need to be spelled out to the guy, but at the same time, that's like you're paid to play the game. And that's a very significant judgment that's cost you 2 points. How do you...
Here comes prior planning prevents poor performance. Right?
Yeah. Did you miss 2 syllables there?
Right? So it's all very well you practicing your goal kicking on your own, slotting over this, that, and the other. But guess what? In real life conversions, people are charging you down. So it's your job to know at what distance I take it back with my routine that a chaser can get to me. It's part of my checklist of my job. You know, it doesn't matter if I'm, and I should say this, it doesn't matter if I'm in the steelworks in Port Talbot pressing a sequence of buttons to make steel. If I get that sequence of buttons wrong, I'm not doing my job right. Right? It's the same here. So he's got a couple of steps back before he moves forward in his routine. As soon as he moves sideways, forwards, or back, those charge down guys can come. So you have to know how long it takes you to get to the ball. And if you're not further back enough from somebody who's coming to charge you down, you're liable to that. I think it's a heinous crime.
Yeah, it's very odd, especially in front of the post, because you don't need to be worrying.
You got to practice with somebody charging you down.
But Sean, you've talked about prevention. I want to know that you're the Blues coach. How do you deal with Aotearoa Black?
Practice. You practice. Right. I get Rick Ione, our quickest guy. Right. There's the kick. Yeah. The try is 10 meters to the left of the post. Conversion, mate. Right. Okay. Let's get our quickest guy. Go through your routine and find out where you need to take the ball back before Rick Ione can get you liable for a charge down. Now you know. Or you shorten up your routine for shorter kickers so that there's less chance of a charge down.
Right. But you lose this game by 1 point.
Ooh.
You lose this game by 1 point. How, like I know you're right. So we talked about prevention. We've talked about cure. Is there a part of this that it has to be said to the guy one-on-one in front of the rest of the guys?
Nah,
he's just been taken off, by the way.
It's a one-on-one, right? But first place to look is in the mirror. You're the coach. You're responsible that all of these guys carry out their jobs and their role descriptions. So have you as a coach covered that off? Have you covered it off with your kicking coach? Have you checked with your kicking coach? Has he done charge downs this week? You know, because I've noticed the Crusaders really go hard at conversions. So you look in the mirror first, you know, and then you go down the line.
That's interesting.
So I'm sending this video on to the boys in Hawaii. This is
exactly. This is almost.
Have you sent my application in, Adam?
This
is like pre-interview.
Yeah. What we can do? Shane Williams this morning.
We'll do you a mood reel. That's what we'll do with all this stuff on.
James Reed.
You want to treat Holley time with a reverence. Thank you, James. Yes, checks in the post.
Yeah. Stephen Kernley.
I created that moniker. That's harsh.
We've got now we don't with Andy not here today. We don't have anybody pulling some stats, or I maybe Armand running off to grab stats while he steers the ships. But apparently, according to Stephen Kernley, that Blues haven't won in Christchurch since 2004.
He knows his stuff. He would have been up early walking up the river by me, Steve. So good morning, mate.
This game now has exploded in the last 10 minutes. Do you know what it hasn't had yet? I really need to see. We haven't had a bit of a Barney. We haven't had not even fisticuffs. I want like a proper
Hello.
Oh!
Richie Moanga is moving into the All Black slot.
Sorry, I had a cable issue.
Richie Moanga held up his pass superbly there.
He has come to life since I tipped him as my 10 for the All Blacks.
He has, mate. He has.
Oh, look at that.
He just delayed his pass, put a flat one in. But this is what the Crusaders do. See, go back to what our lovely friend, the Chiefs girl, and our lovely lady earlier, I forget her name, Jasmine, is that the Crusaders are able, they've almost got a car with an extra gear. So they're happy to keep it in a petrol neutral pace to win and save as much energy as possible, if you like. But if they need to, they can change down and overtake you. And I think that's what's happened.
I should say something before this conversion. I just want to see the wide shot again. But like none of the Blues players are bothering to look at the conversion here. So it'd be very interesting to see if they're going to try and charge down Richie Monga's conversion, because it's from identical position that the other one was in.
See, his movement is straight forward.
Yeah.
Whereas
nobody going at him.
Aotearoa Black, a couple of steps back. That's great. It's either great detail by the Crusaders, which I probably think is right, great finish, or poor detail from Aotearoa Black. If I was always a guy, who would charge it down. Why not? If there's a chance, give it a go,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's 2 points is a lot, as we're seeing now. And if a guy is taking a couple of steps back, you've got a chance. If he's not taking it back where he should, you've got a chance. Give it a go.
Guys, it really didn't look like the Crusaders had a chance in this game for quite a while. I mean, it just looked like they were being controlled, that this was an arm wrestle, that they weren't able to get, even the push on to the other guy. And now they're a point ahead. I mean, I think the intensity here in the last 10, 15 minutes, it has definitely stepped up a gear, hasn't it?
And the situation warranted that. So obviously the Blues try has kicked into Crusaders and the misconversion ad. I think the misconversion has gone, we're only 6 points here. 8 points is a different psyche to it. And straight off a kickoff, Mo'unga's grabbed the game. Without a doubt, he's grabbed the game. And now they're in the lead, even though there's 70 minutes to go, who's your money on? Are the bookies right now, 8 points?
Yeah.
And another penalty.
Yeah. Jerome Natana, who are you guys picking for your player of the game so far?
Aotearoa Black.
Game changer. Game changer.
I mean, I would put Rieko Ioane up there because of his try and a couple of spot tackles in that
I think
latter part of the first half.
I'm going to go for Kiro Ioane, I think, because he's had some big hits. He's carried pretty well.
I was going to say Akira Ioane, but I think, look, the way this game is starting to shift, the next 10 minutes we'll be saying Richie Mo'unga.
Richie Mo'unga,
which is a disservice to all the guys ramping things up. Sam Whitelock's on, ramping things up in the forwards.
That's good line of defence from the Blues, isn't it?
Yeah, Jasmine Smith says Tutu. Yeah, he's had a decent game again.
Yeah,
they're
time
squeezing
left. We've 15 minutes left, guys. 15 minutes left.
Oh, is that a high tackle?
This on the TV.
Tell you what, he's carried a lot of direct ball today, good you.
They're squeezing him now, right? This is what the Crusaders are good at. They got a sniff. They know they can kill the game here. They can take it to 8 points, can they?
So what are we expecting here? Loads of neat, tight carries.
Oh, they're just going to try and pick and go over the line.
Yeah, this is classic. It's one of these times you're just not going to get the ball back from the forwards. But I think is Mo'unga's shape? No, he's not. If this comes in fields, they have a penalty coming. So now just give the ball to Mo'unga and let him see what he can do with it. Forwards have no interest in letting that happen.
That was a flying wedge.
They've got the advantage here. You've got the advantage. Give it to Mo'unga.
They're not getting over there against those two.
No. Oh my gosh! What a tackle by Akira Ioane. Oh
no lie.
Gosh. Now, here we go. Silence. That makes for great streaming commentary, boys.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
It's getting tense now. It's getting tense.
It's so close.
Are they over?
Oh, there's a penalty.
Held up.
Got the penalty.
All right, going back for the penalty. Now, is he given a new one? No,
it should have been a new one because there was an infringement there under the sticks.
Yeah.
Where
very good, Sean.
The Blues player was coming around. Yeah, he's given the new one. Yeah, he has.
Yeah, okay.
And you have to take 3 here, unfortunately, because
gotta go for goal.
What is it? 1 try apiece. So tries at a premium. You have to take it 4 points clear.
Yeah.
Now we have a few people saying, someone's asked in the comments who's winning. I saw a lot of people saying Crusaders by a point. I thought those were some predictions coming in. So now here we go. Now what I'm trying to figure out, and the problem is the Blues haven't had enough possession, and I'm only just going by the last bit of defensive play on the Crusaders try, but I think Barrett is still at 15. So forgive me, anybody in New Zealand watching, that I don't necessarily have my TJ Fanani stats on whether he's a 10 or a fullback. But again, we were wondering, is Bowden going to be moved to 10 during this game? We need to see the Blues get a bit of possession. So there we go. There's Richie Mo'unga kicks, and they are up 19-15, a 4-point lead. Still pretty slender. still pretty slender because the Blues have shown a lot of threat when it gets into the 22. They got a lot of quality there. This is shaping up to be a nice final 13 minutes.
Whatever happens in this game, I think we're probably looking at the next season or two, the Blues starting to come to real prominence. They've got a young enough squad and a good enough set of X factor they're showing, aren't they, that they're coming.
Yeah, great chase by Ioane there off the kickoff to just hold them in.
Interesting stat here. Crusaders' defensive completion is at 79%, which is low for them. They're always at mid-80s, even in Super Rugby.
Joe, it's a tight enough game, and we could end up in drop goal territory again. And Chiefs girl, one good thing about Super Rugby Aotearoa is that the New Zealand players are finally trying to do drop goals. How many years have we been allergic to them when we could have won games like the 2007 Rugby World Cup quarterfinal? Yeah. Do you know what? Anytime somebody ever brings up that quarterfinal between the All Blacks and France, I can just never ever get it into my head why McAllister didn't just step back in the pocket to drop over what would have been the easiest of drop goals.
Yeah, they were very anti it for a while, weren't they?
I love the drop goal. I love it.
Until this season, where there was especially the first couple of weeks where we saw a good few drop goals. Drop goals just aren't a thing in Super Rugby.
The games are never that tight.
It's such an easy 3 points.
Yeah, the thing is, they score so many tries that I presume they just view it as a waste. Because you need, historically, I'd say you need probably 4 or 5 tries in Super Rugby to win games. Whereas, so they just don't need those 3 points.
First 1-1 in this
game.
Have
you got the stats up in front of you?
Yes.
I was gonna have a look for myself for the see what the penalty count is at the moment.
Yeah, so the pen counts are reasonable actually. So they're 8 and 9, we're 7 to the Crusaders and 10 to the Blues now. Actually, that's just gone up.
There we are. They've come right down from the 30 and 28 in the first 2 rounds,
way down. Still 10 minutes to go, but
it's great.
There's a late elbow there. There's a late elbow. There's Barrett messing up from fullback again.
Yeah,
he's had a. I mean, if you were to add up the consequences of all his involvements on the ball, he'd be on the negative side, wouldn't he?
Oh, now he's in even more trouble.
Oh no, poor Bodie.
What a fab kick! Who put that through?
They're letting him know. They're letting him know as well. The fans, the Crusaders players.
Do you know what?
It must be like David Beckham going to West Ham.
His body language for me. I said this, didn't I? When he tried that tackle on, was it Cody Taylor against the Hurricanes, his former team? Does his body language look like he's enjoying playing 15?
No. He looks like he's thinking, why am I stuck in this corner having to carry this into touch?
But then again, right, like, so there, if that's an issue that we're getting with here, okay, if you want him to be your 10, you want him to be a leader, you want him to be a kingpin All Black, you suck it up, mate. Oh, Richie Warren got blocked down. I think they did the advantage anyway, didn't they?
That was a shocking lineup by Crusader standards, by the way.
It was.
Scott Robinson would be tamping with that. Look at this. Monga's gone for there's us talking about drop goals. Poor attempt, didn't quite get it. But 5-meter line out, that state of the game, and they miscommunicate and a misthrow.
I think the timing was completely off, wasn't it? Because their players weren't even in the air.
You can't have
when the Blues players just slapped at it.
See, they're talking about it now, but you can't have that. David Curry, how long left? 8.5 minutes, David.
Yeah.
Still 4 points up.
I think, Jasmine, you're being very, very generous to say that Bowden has been average in this match.
She's enjoying as well.
Yeah, he's had a funny month.
I mean, I'll go back
quiet
to the point,
month, shall we say.
You like, if you're going to play at 10, whether you're a vocal leader or quiet guy, whatever it is, you can't be having strops because you're not in the game's not going.
I don't think he's having strops, man. I just think I'm looking at him and I'm thinking he doesn't quite look himself. You know, I don't say he's like doing an Anthony Martial on Thursday night and stropping because he's taken off and he hasn't scored a goal for Man United. But Barrett is looking a shadow of himself. He's not committed in those aerial, and I know he should be, but we're all human. You know, deep down, he's probably thinking, you know, I do want to play at 10. I'm not in the game enough. When I am in the game, I'm either taking a high ball or tackling the last tackle. So
the thing is, why would you buy Bowden Barrett for high balls and tackling? That makes sense.
It's a mess of a scrum, that one. He's going to reset
that
it.
Luke said was in all sorts of trouble then. The Blues Luke said. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
But do you know what? You're in a period of time here where the referees don't want to be the ones deciding the game. So he's just going to reset that one.
Yeah, if you're him here, you're thinking, how would we get out of this? A clock's ticking. If you're him, you're like, I want to reset. There he is. I just want to go again. Let's stay down here. You can take 3-4 minutes away here.
And I think this is, again, we get into that stretch when people start talking about scrum clocks and different things we can speed up the game. And Sean, you made the point earlier on when we were asking about, the dropout from the goal line if someone's held up, it's to avoid all these reset scrums. You're the Crusaders in this situation, plenty of clock here that you can run off, and hopefully by the end of it, you might get a penalty out of it, and then you can lock up the game. It's plenty incentive for them to just take the time at these scrums, isn't there?
Before it happens here, if we get a penalty here, what do we do? Kick at goal or for the corner?
Goal.
Corner, because it'll lead up more time.
Interesting, isn't it?
I always go goal.
Sometimes I think time is the most valuable, because the other thing is, because it's 4 points, all you have to do is hold out defensively to not give up a try. Whereas if it was 3 points, then you probably say, right, well, points on the board are more valuable than the time.
Do you know, for all we say about the Crusaders, and they've ground out a win here, and there's all these names. There's all these names that we don't know, right? Young players off the bench, young back rowers, and they just get on with it. Like this guy hasn't been involved, the 8, but he's ticked along. Mwanga's been the dust. Lovely.
Oh, well done, Mwanga there.
He's carried hard, good here, but the nuts and bolts players, they always produce. We keep mentioning Satutu and Rick Ione and all that. They just go about their work, don't they? Crusaders. You asked about the styles, Adam, at the start. It's classic. It's classic.
Yeah.
I see a lot of comments coming through. It's getting pretty tense. Oh,
Jordan.
Jordan.
Mwanga's got the game. Man of the match for me.
Yeah.
He's held that one up again.
I think that's Will Jordan's third in. Oh, there we are. 5 tries in Super Rugby.
Papa Lee's
New Zealand.
Watch how we just hold this up. Watch how we just little hold. Just a little. Lovely. Fake pass. Lovely.
Oh, and that's the end of the Blues.
And do you know, we were talking about it recently as well. It's the even the pass. He's not wasting time trying to throw a spiral there. He's just doing the shovel. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's happened a couple of times actually with the pass from the winger into the scrum half for the Crusaders' previous try. I mean, it wasn't a case of I'm going to try and do the most perfect pass ever. It was like, I'll make sure this is going to end up in the breadbasket under pressure.
And it's easier to catch, isn't it? It's softer. You haven't got that spiral on it.
Notice how far Mwanga's taking this back. It's under the sticks try, right? Watch now how far he's taking it back. So go back to our Aotearoa Blacks charge down, which was a turning point in the game, by the way.
Yes,
absolutely.
It was.
When we pan to the wide here, Kevin Slaughter has just mentioned the 2-point conversion charge down has influenced this game. Absolutely, turning point. Went from, look how far back. They got no chance of charging it down.
No. And he's got a short stride there. There's 2 steps, isn't it? It's like 1-2 bang.
So there we go.
Boom.
Crusaders 26, Blues 15, 11 points up. Yeah, there's only going to be one winner from this point, and I'll happily swallow that commentator's curse if we get 12 points from the Blues in the next
So
6
he's
minutes.
shaped that pass, to pass it to the outside centre, to
As
pass
if
it to
going
Brendan
back.
Ennan.
Little
Right?
drag back.
And then it's just a little slower pass to bring Jordan in.
Rebecca W, leave Barrett alone. We all have off moments. It's a very, very fair point.
It is a fair point. He's
Sean,
one of the best players
Sean
we've
as the
ever
players,
seen.
as the players coach, I'm sure Sean will definitely agree.
You are right,
absolutely.
Rebecca.
Absolutely.
I think
Thanks
the
for
thing is,
tuning in.
though, I think we're only saying all of this because we love watching him play 10. And we love watching him having the ball. And it's not that we think he's a bad player. That is clearly not the case.
What's interesting the way this game has gone. We talk about the turning point of the block down kick, and Black came off pretty soon afterwards, and we were trying to figure out, well, is Bowden Barrett going to move to 10 or not? Blues haven't had the ball since that kick was charged in, because Richie Mwonga did the little kick through, did the fast restart, and since then it's been pretty helter-skelter, but the Blues just have not been able to get out of their own half. They haven't been able to hold on to the ball for more than maybe 30 seconds at a time. I mean, the Crusaders in the championship minutes have just shown. I mean, it comes back to good coaching, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm scrolling back on our commentary. The Chiefs girl was on at the start. They don't play attractive rugby. The Crusaders. We want Super Rugby. This, that, and the other. If you're a Crusaders fan right now, you're pretty happy because you're used to seeing them win. They've faced a formed team in the comp, big names like Sotutu, Ione scoring tries, Caleb Clark, we haven't seen in this game. They were down in the game. They've clawed their way back, and now they're going to come out of this with what looks like a pretty convincing win. You've got to be happy. As a coach and as a fan, they just workmanlike. Give me those all day. I love watching the Blues, but these are the winners.
Yeah. It's funny when you put it like that, Sean, as well. You can just imagine what the build-up for the Crusaders boys were like, because everyone is talking about the Blues. They're talking about the new young hotshots. They're talking about the style of rugby they're playing. And if you're a Crusaders guy, I mean, you won't be struggling for motivation going into this game.
Well, you can see Liam McDonald. He looks unhappy, doesn't he? And
they would have been fancying it, people. They would have fancied it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can believe your own press. You know what I mean? You go there, you win, and you got some of the stars, the former players. But I've been in both these seats. In terms of expectation and performance and that, and you sort of it would have galvanized the Crusaders, Adam. You're right this week, all that talk, but they would have fancied their chances, particularly at half time. The Blues.
Well, let's face it. Until that conversion, they were.
Well, you see, they would not be in this. According to Stephen, they would not have been in that situation, Paul, if old Super Gav was taking the conversion. He'd always have it on the 22 and pump it into the sand.
Super Gav, Super Gavin Henson.
He's playing a lot of football now, isn't he? I saw in Media Wales the other day. Sunday League football. Was he always into football when he was playing? Or
Man United fan.
Is he really?
Ah, very good.
Another glory hunter. He didn't even look up then.
Do you think, Sean? Do you think Gav would be good on one of these types of chats, watching a game and going through things?
He would be superb, mate. He'd be absolutely. He's a brilliant rugby mind. Gavin is. But he don't do them. He don't do podcasts. He don't do TV interviews. He don't do dinners or Q&As. Don't do them.
Think of the demand as well. How many people would want him to do a dinner?
I'd say what a rugby brain, Gavin Henson. Yeah. Brilliant.
So full time there just for.
He signed for. He's always wanted to go back and play for his club, Pencode. He's a boy. He's a boy, and I love him to bits.
So there we go. Full-time Crusaders 26, Blues 15. I think, guys, this lived up to the billing. It lived up to the billing that we said at the start of the game.
Yeah, it really did.
We didn't get necessarily the try fest and the skill fest that sometimes you would think. What we saw was the hard edge of New Zealand rugby between these two teams. And we saw a couple of guys who, little details created big moments and changed this game massively. And it's so interesting. Again, thank you to everyone who has watched along with us this morning and put your comments in, and you've really stimulated conversation. And that whole chat we had around Bowden Barrett at 10 or Richie Mwanga, and then as this game grew more and more legs, we saw that just diverge, and we saw Mwanga, who was my tip for the 10 jersey, not Sean's, I might add. So I don't know if I get a point up there. I know Sean's in the lead against all of us, but it's been really good watching. So thank you to everyone for getting involved.
I want to reinforce that we've had lots of new names crop up on our live comment feed today, and we get to see these guys. So thanks very much for joining us, for your questions, your comments, and it's from all over the world. And we're really enjoying doing this. Yes. But to have you guys on board, either listening, watching and listening, and then joining in, it makes it so much easier for us. So we're on next week, are we?
Yeah, we'll keep doing the Saturday mornings. The Under the Sticks on Wednesday nights is taking a little summer break for a couple of weeks, but we'll keep doing the Saturday mornings.
Well, look forward to that.
That's McGeady. McGeady's just popped up.
Hang on a second. Andy McGeady. Who's Andy McGeady?
I don't know. He's tweeted that on Painkillers.
Very good, very good. Well, guys, I'm going to say thank you very much to everyone for watching. Thank you very much, Mr. Paul Williams. Good luck in your tennis match later on. Thank you very much, Mr. Sean Holley, and very good luck on the golf course very soon. This has been another live watch along, which is getting great traction. A lot of people watching, so we'll keep doing them as long as you guys keep watching them. Other than that, enjoy your weekend, and it is over and out from the Under the Sticks crew.